Hey, what's up guys? It's the Crypto Ginger here. Just wanted to quickly start this video off with an image of the US debt clock. And the reason why I'm showing this is because of this number here. This is the US national debt, which is exponentially going up here as we speak. Right now it's sitting just under $21.5 trillion. And why I bring this up is because just like any debt, this is going to have an interest tacked onto it. And basically the United States has more or less an unpayable debt that would require more money in order for us to survive, which would absolutely inflate the United States dollar even more than it already is. Interesting enough, other countries such as Venezuela have already been impacted by a significant amount of inflation in their country. Take for example this. The United States dollar is already being inflated, but one United States dollar will actually buy you up to 248,000 bolivar, which is actually Venezuela's main currency. This is something that I would imagine is a huge impact as to why the Venezuela president has actually set themselves up for their own cryptocurrency called the Petro coin, which is apparently supposed to be backed up by their oil, but from speculation and information, it is said that that is not the very best investment at all. It would make sense as to why a lot of Venezuelans have actually started buying more into cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. And of course, what I find very interesting is that $1, the one United States dollar, they can still get you the 248,000 Venezuela bolivar. That $1 will get you 0.00014 Bitcoin or Satoshi. And with how we've been seeing Bitcoin go up in value because it is a fixed number of coins that will ever be, and there is a scarcity value incorporated as well. Bitcoin will go up in value with your amount of money you've invested, and then you can take that money and send it over to your family and friends in Venezuela, and they would live like kings and queens. And it kind of leads me into one of the coins I wanted to talk about in particular, which is XRP and the Ripple company. And interesting enough, Ripple company has been kind of alerting the public with a lot of different information here and there loosely, and I'm hoping that I'm putting everything together the right way, and I'm seeing this being done the right way, because interesting enough, some of the more recent news here is kind of molding it all together for me, at least in my mind. Things such as this article right here, where Ripple plans on merging XVIA, XRapid, and XCurrent into one solution called Convergence. Now, I'm going to call this the super software solution because their three main products are being put together as one, again called Convergence, and it's going to allow, it says right here, companies of individuals who would want to move capital from one part of the world to another would still enjoy the benefits of speed and security on top of the immediate quote of the total cost of transacting, which is well known to be low. So basically, not only would they be able to take advantage of transferring the transfer speed with large amounts of capital, but they'll be able to take advantage of low transaction fees. So again, a super software program being built, but why would Ripple need to build that? And I would imagine it's because there are going to be companies out there that are immediately going to need that large transfer of capital back and forth very rapidly on a regular basis. Companies such as SBI Holdings, this is an older article, but they alerted that they were basically establishing their own cryptocurrency exchange, which is bank-backed, called VC Trade. And it states right here in this older article, again, this is from June, it states, in addition, SBI said as a first step, VC Trade will focus on the trading of XRP, the native token derived from the Ripple protocol, after which the exchange will sequentially add support for Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, though an initial timeline for that remains unclear at this stage. So they're going to primarily use XRP for the starting of their own cryptocurrency exchange. So again, here we go, an entity right here who's going to need a way for that XRP to be transferred very, very fast as large capital. All right, now Who else would we want? Well, it looks like SBI Holdings is also investing into two other companies in North America, and one of them being in North Carolina, where I have lived. And it's interesting. This is they're buying basically stake in a U.S. trading firm called Clear Markets. So another big company, and it states right here in this article, says though a 12% stake at Clear Markets, SBI plans on building a derivatives exchange that allows institutional investment products to be tied to the price of Bitcoin and most likely our favorite digital asset of XRP. SBI, though its recent financial report aims at increasing their stake from 12% to 20% at Clear Markets. Mark Greenspan, a senior market analyst at eToro, had stated the following with regards to the recent stability of XRP in the markets. And this is him quoting, stating, XRP's recent rise is likely related to Ripple's investor SBI's plan to launch XPR derivatives. Large banks may be stress testing the system for wider adoption. So guys, again, we have another large company in North America. This is one. Again, there was a second one. And within the article, I'll leave this in the link so you guys can read it. The second is another firm called Lancium Technology, which is actually from Canada. And again, this is something that the SBI firm is getting invested into just as well. But the primary one was the one called Clear Markets because of their involvement with XRP coin. So again, another large entity that's dealing with the XRP coin for large transfers of capital. So with that being said here, one of the things I wanted to point out as far as that super program, that super software called Convergence, the XRapid has been talked about just recently, and one of the primary things I wanted to share is this right here. Why XRapid is so important is because it's hopeful to solve liquidity concerns. It states right here, in this particular article, it says, while current initiates communicate, while X-Current initiates communication among the parties involved in a transaction, Burla claims Ripple's Rapid as a solution that can possibly resolve liquidity concerns. He shared another example in which moving XRP into Mexico, concluding that it would reduce friction and speed of the entire transaction process. And this is what Burla quoted. Basically, you send the system US dollars, it converts the XRP, moves the XRP into Mexico, and then a local exchange in Mexico converts that into Mexico pesos and payout. The whole process takes just a matter of seconds and is very efficient. It cuts down the amount of friction needed to open up accounts in new countries. So, remember when I was talking about how you can take your cryptocurrency and submit it over to people in your country, such as Venezuela, your family or friends, and they'll be able to take that and they can live like kings and queens. Well, this is what XRP would be able to do as far as your transfer funds. You'd be able to take your money and transfer it over to another country, such as Venezuela. And of course, if you're invested currently and you watch your cryptocurrency in XRP go up in value, you just take a chunk of that and send it over to your family and friends. Again, they're living like kings and queens. So again, I'm trying to wrap everything up here. We have several big companies who need a big program called Convergence to work and process loads and loads of XRP back and forth. This is huge. This is extremely important, and they want to be able to do this as fast as they possibly can, humanly possibly can. All right, so one of the other things here I wanted to bring up was the last thing here, or one of the next to last thing I want to say. Basically, this is something I feel like was kind of overlooked. Hasn't been really talked about very heavily in the most recent news, but it's the Cobalt algorithm, which is something that is supposed to be implemented here from Ripple. And basically, there are some benefits, some perks as far as having this algorithm basically implemented into basically the Ripple's development team and the algorithm of XRP. And what it states here is that it will offer lightning fast cross-border transaction. The COBOL algorithm would mitigate the time for a cross-border transaction to nearly 1 second. So basically, what we had experienced as really fast transaction speeds are going to be narrowed down to even faster transaction speeds. And it says, therefore, this new implementation would increase Ripple's speed by nearly 75%, which means the number of overall transactions would also increase accordingly, which such a gargantuan boost in a daily transaction, Ripple's popularity to the traders is very likely to escalate further. So again, this is something that hasn't even been implemented yet. So we have that super program, and we also are waiting for Cobalt to reduce this. We're reducing the transaction time. Guys, you see what we're doing? We have a super program. We have Cobalt that we're waiting for, and it's going to reduce the how fast it takes for you to submit XRP from one place to another place around the world. Again, if we're not setting something up for huge organizations, huge companies, I don't know what we're doing here with XRP. This is huge. The next thing it says is going to increase stability here. The thing that you need to gather from this, it says right here, this will indubitably increase Ripple's reliability as a decentralized transaction protocol and make it even more stable. So again, the COBOL algorithm is not only going to make it so super fast, but it's going to increase its stability. And the next thing it's going to do is it's going to eliminate transaction stoppage. Basically, what they're stating here is that there can't be really a hack that's going to stop the processing of transactions. It's merely going to slow it down. So not only we have this right here, these three particular perks, these amazing benefits with COBOL algorithm being implemented, but they also have a partnership currently with Hyperledger. So guys, okay, again, let's run this back. We have Ripple creating a super software program that allows for all these things as far as transferring XRP from one location around the world to another location as so fast, as currently fast as it can, and at the low fees. Now what they're doing is they're setting themselves up so they can incorporate the COBOL algorithm into this and reduce the transaction processing time even more. So, and what does it say? Up to 75%. So again, this is huge, and we're setting it up for huge companies that are buying XRP. Even if they're buying over the counter right now, they're buying up XRP. So when it comes time for them to get everything established and ready to go, especially if we're simply waiting for find out from the SEC whether or not they are going to be regulated as a security or not. This is huge. We don't have very long to wait. That's going to happen, roughly around the end of September. So we have such a small amount of time to really see how impacted XRP is going to be by all of this. The next thing I wanted to show you here, this might not have anything to do with anything, but I found it very interesting that the SBI Group, the same company that's investing in all these companies here, they also invested in a Tokyo-based exchange back in 2016 called Last Roots. I haven't seen a lot of information on it, but my understanding is that because there isn't anything negative about it, it's a very good likelihood we have another exchange here that could pop up as far as SBI is wanting them to, as soon as everything hits the fan. As far as everything going into order, the moment that takes place and all these companies start popping up, XRP is going to go crazy. It's going to go through the roof. And I believe this is one last thing I wanted to share with you guys here. One little bit of tidbit of information here that I found that was really, really important, and maybe not as important as everything else, but it's just, again, to wrap everything up, and I apologize for everything being long-winded, but this is so important for XRP and Ripple. So it says right here, NKH, okay, Japan's national public broadcaster says two of the country's largest banks, Resona Bank and Suruga Bank, will join forces with SBI Submission Net Bank, a subsidiary of financial giant SBI Group, that company we've been talking about. So two banks right now in Japan are going to be working together with SBI Group for a new service platform powered by blockchain technology. Operators say some 61 financial companies have also signed up to collaborate on the platform, which may roll out in autumn of this year. Guys, it is not yet autumn. Remember, I said September. This time frame has been announced everywhere. The service will allow bank customers to transfer money on a blockchain platform via a smartphone app, allowing for low fees and a transfer made outside normal bank hours. Oh my gosh, guys, you see what's happening here? So these guys are just simply opening up banks and exchanges for people to sit there and transfer money back and forth, whether it's me or you or huge entities, and we'll be able to transfer it at such fast speeds that we won't even think about it. It'll just be so significantly fast. What does it say right here? It says SBI, which recently announced it would be pushing back the launch of an ambitious ICO project, has shown considerable enthusiasm for all these blockchains and cryptocurrency related, and last week snapped 40%. So this is a little bit older, guys, so that little bit of information there's slightly older. I apologize for that. But again, what I find important is the fact that you have so many banks invested and involved in this because of this SBI group. And what is SBI involved in? They're involved in XPR. And who is XPR a primary result of? Ripple. So you can see, guys, this is going to be something so substantial. Guys, if I am off my rocker, please let me know in the comment section. I will gladly take that kind of criticism for sure. But like I said, I think that wrapping everything up the way I did here is so significant, it's so huge, and it would actually be something that would just blow all these other cryptocurrencies out of the water. And let's pinpoint one more thing here, guys. Look at this chart here. This is the current CoinMarketCap listing here, and as you can see, Ripple has maintained third, and it will maintain third and possibly second, and then first, simply depending on how all of this excels if this is what takes place. And I want to show you something, guys. This is at 34 cents. This thing has had a high of roughly around just over $3. If you do the math, and this is how simple you can do with the math, multiply its current price by 10. If you do that, it's going to be hitting roughly around its all-time high. That's all you needed to do to hit 10 times your money. Now, again, I am not a financial investor or an advisor, but I have to tell you guys, you do your own research, you do your own math, you figure these things out, think about it. If all we have to do now is simply rely on it to go to its all-time high, you have enough to prosper from. Yes, absolutely, this coin and all these coins can hit zero. But is that going to be happening? Do I feel like that's a likely situation? No. Did I just point out reasons why? Yes. Guys, take that information in, please. Again, I apologize for how long-winded this is. I am just stressing the importance of why I think XRP is going to be a coin that you need to look into. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening to me. Please check out my other video about XCurrent. I also have a way in there for you to just go in if you don't want to pay for anything to get your feet wet and get some free XRP coins. Check that video out. I'll leave a link in this description for those locations to get your free XRP if you want to do that. And like I said, it's just for those who want to dabble and just get their feet wet. If you're someone who wants to, take this information and run with it and get yourself invested, that's on you. Do your own research, please. But if you like what you saw tonight, please hit that like button. Get this information out there to the public. Please share it. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, please. I have so much content that I am constantly thinking of, and I just don't know how I can get it out to everybody so fast. So please help me get this information out there. And thank you again for being a part of this particular community. I love you guys to death. Have a great night. Thanks again, guys.